Welcome to Tailboard Talk with
Chris Rasmussen,
Craig Nelson, and Jeff Wallin. Every month we explore different topics of interest to you, our cohorts in fire and emergency services. So whether you sit back and listen, sound off on the message board, or call in live to be part of the conversation, we welcome you to join us in our mission to improve the fire service for those we serve and those we serve beside. Now coming to you live from the Great White North, this is Tailboard Talk on Fire Engineering Talk Radio.
Hey, welcome to Tailboard Talk for Friday, April 18th. This is Jeff.
It's Craig.
And Chris.
Nice. You can tell by our attire, spring hasn't quite hit up here in the Great White North where we're at.
It was spring last week, and then it hit winter again.
I don't trust meteorologists.
We were close a couple times.
Yeah. We might have just missed summer. I'm not sure if we did.
Oh, yeah. Could be turning back into fall again for all we know.
Yeah. We were in a drought situation, and then we got 8+ inches of snow dumped on us.
Which is nice. You got to love that.
Everything was dry and nice and starting to green up, and then it got sloppy again.
Yeah, I think this was the third time the snow kind of melted, went away, and then came back.
Yeah.
Came back pretty fierce this time.
I did keep my snowblower on just in case. I played this game before.
It wasn't your fault.
No, absolutely not.
We need to find the person that put their snowblower away.
Yep, snowmobile's still sitting on the yard.
Uh-huh.
We're all set.
Well, the plow's still hooked up to the truck I drove over here today, and I actually had that thought when I left home too. The minute I take that off, they're going to talk about this big, new, huge storm that's going to come through and dump a ton of snow. So
right.
I'll just wait till the grass is green and I got 3 mowings in. Then I'll take the plow off.
Then you might as well just wait till.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Winter.
That's true. It's not even worth the work.
No, not worth the time. Well, I hope everybody's been well lately.
I've been well. I imagine Craig's been really well.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah. Been good.
Yeah. Just we're just in town holding the fort down. Craig's out
gallivanting around.
And
Yeah, working on our accreditation. We're as a department are due up. So you guys will keep bugging me.
He thinks that counts as work.
Yeah.
So you were working on those documents in the cabana, huh?
Yeah.
We don't want to get into that whole.
No, we probably don't want
weekend.
to open that can of worms. Yeah. But yeah, we're due up every 5 years for accreditation, and this is year 5.
Yep.
So we'll be getting our site visit soon, and trying to get ready for all of that.
Okay. Huh. I know our neighboring department of West Fargo, they're gearing up for their first site visit for their first accreditation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And going through the document reviews with everybody online, and I don't know that they have the date set yet for when they're coming, but it must be in the next 30 days or so. And we are starting to work on our documents. We're in our 17-month window. What should be left now before we have to be ready to go? I'm
17 month. Oh, you
got 18 months to get all your paperwork in.
That's all they give you, huh?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that we really don't need to wait until we get to month 3. We really need to get after it and start working.
I like to procrastinate. You got a whole year before you need to.
Yeah, I don't even know why we're talking about it.
Probably can do it in a month, so I'd wait till month 7.
Good hard month of work. Probably work fine.
Yeah, just solid. If you get after it.
How hard can those documents be to write?
Well, I'm on a peer review team right now, and we're reviewing somebody else's documents, and so there's a lot of work that goes into it, but you get a lot out of it. That's
all
for sure.
All I heard is his department's going to be written the same way as the other department.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
copy and paste
hearing
kind of
there
thing.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Copy, replace.
Once you put your own city's name in that document, it becomes yours. It's no longer plagiarism.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the peer reviewers will.
Oh, they'd feel the same way.
Yeah, they're impressed by that.
How would they know? How would they even know?
Right.
Oh,
no, it is a lot of work for most of those departments that have gone through it, and this is our 4th cycle.
This is our fourth time. Yeah. Yep.
So you think it'd be pretty easy, but then they keep changing.
Yep. A few more things to address them in a different way.
Yeah.
I can say just from the very beginning of the process, first of all, I don't know that we would have had the initiative and all the support to redo our strategic plan, which was really, really old.
Yeah.
Like disturbingly old. And to put together a full risk assessment and standard of cover like we need to if we didn't have to do that in an accreditation. But we've already seen benefits from Section 1 on governance that as we dug into a few things, we found that we could improve what our department's authorized to do in our city codes, that not everything is necessarily covered the way it ought to be. And as it turns out, there might be more than one mutual aid agreement that has expired in the past 3 years that we just didn't realize. And so these things force you to discover good things that you need to address and fix. So we're already seeing improvements without being accredited. So maybe we'll just forget about that. We'll just walk through the document and just do the work.
That's exactly how I imagine it going over there, don't you?
Yeah.
No, it is a good thing. I'm not going to.
How many years ago did you guys start this process?
Well, we went through the full 3 years, like down to the last day of, what's the first day? What's the first stage of that called? So we were
thinking about it.
Registered agency. Yeah. So we took the full 3 years as a registered agency. We were kind of dealing with some other issues where we wanted to get everybody on the same page at least. But we first talked about doing this just shortly after you guys did your first one. And so
20 years ago, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, so 18 months.
15, yeah.
18, that's
like that. So it's been a long time coming. And I'm glad that there's going to be another department in our metro area that's doing it as well, because what I see is when you get several departments in an area that start to operate and work this way, they all support each other and you start to change operations in your whole area to support each other's city and department and citizens too. So looking forward to that side benefit that almost always comes out of this.
Absolutely. And it's a good program. I'm not going to try to sell it to anybody out there, but I just like the annual review of projects or programs that we have. It does force you to do it on an annual basis instead of you think you're doing it on an annual basis. And like you talked about standard recovery, you haven't done it for how long. And, it kind of forces you to maybe get those things back on the front burner. So I do appreciate that part of it. So I've been through it quite a few times. Hoping this might be the last one.
I was thinking.
See, I got a whole bunch of questions about tariffs and stuff like that. I don't know if I want to talk about those, but
which performance indicator do they fall under?
My personal, my personal 401k.
Sure. I was thinking, Chris, I don't know if you were looking for a side gig on your days off, but since you're still on shift, we've got a lot of documents we're going to be looking to prepare.
Yeah, I would.
A lot of measurement of our performance that we're going to need to do.
I could easily help you guys out for we'll negotiate that later.
Sure. Well, you know what the market rate is for people helping you to develop those things.
I don't know if you know what the market rate is, Jeff.
Well, I don't know what your market rate is.
No, it's a good program. So glad we're going through it and excited to be have the site visit again and go over those things. So we have several members of our department that are heavily involved, not only in our own accreditation, but also at the national level. So site visits, board members, all kinds of those things. So we got a pretty good handle on it, we think, but always improvement.
I think that's one of the extra benefits you get out of this too, is you end up joining a community of other people that are doing that outside of your area.
Sure.
So you start to see some of those outside perspectives that you miss because you're sort of inbred into your own system.
Right.
And sometimes there's regional things that you just buy into because that's the way they've always been. And when you get people from the outside coming in, or you go and see what other people are doing, it really forces you to challenge some of the things that you're doing, because some people have a different take and it works as well or better than the way you were doing your things. And also opens up the possibility of what your community and what your city could end up supporting for your department too. 'Cause that can be one of our biggest Achilles heel. Well, the city will never support this. It'll cost so much money to do this or that. I don't think the taxpayers would buy in. And you come to find out, you identify a gap in something you really need to improve, and it will make a difference when you're out delivering service to the customers. People will support that, and they'll support things that you wouldn't have thought you could have gotten on your own by asking.
Interesting. I have lots of comments. I don't know if this is the topic we're going to go with today.
I don't know either. It's just the way the opening introduction went. But
anyway, we got some snow a couple weeks ago. Or
there you go. Yeah. Let's just start over again.
What's on your mind,
You're
Chris?
trying to get it off my mind. You don't want to see angry Chris. No, I mean it's a good topic to talk about. I know you guys I missed last meeting or last show. You guys talked about NFA being shut down. Is that what I believe it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about not really the politics of the political climate. We were talking about the value of the fire academy. Yeah. And I think we might have gotten a little bit into how do you try to seek some stability when we've got a little bit of an kind of unstable atmosphere right now.
Well, it's kind of an anchor piece. Yeah, you're sitting on my microphone cord. It's on my whammo. Yeah, with the changes, it could have very devastating effects on the fire service, and so that's what we visited about last time is how that impacts us in how many different ways, with the fire academy closed and or not knowing when it might reopen.
Yeah, and in what fashion does it look like?
Exactly.
I had a glimmer of hope this morning. I've got an email in to do a long-term eval for one of our members who's out at the academy in December. I said, look at that. There we go. They're picking up the ball a little bit and they're rolling with things. And then I realized, oh, this is an automated email system. I don't know if there's anybody on the campus or not. The system's still running. Nobody shut the computers down.
That's good.
There could very well be a skeleton crew of staff that are maintaining certain things while they're there, but there's also uncertainty in that. You don't really know what the clear picture is.
Yeah, I was just kind of in my downtime. I was thinking of what's the new norm. What's the new norm going to look like here?
Yeah,
and it's kind of scary. We have. I oversee some hazmat team programs, and we always send people out to the CDP classes, Anniston, Vegas, New Mexico, those kind of things, and those have been canceled. Which didn't surprise me when you cancel the National Fire Academy, but now you're canceling these programs also. And I would tell you, our department weighs heavily on those programs provided by the government, for tech and advanced classes. Mm-hmm. And we send a lot of people to classes that are funded by grants. In fact, our whole hazmat technical rescue team is funded by grants.
Right.
And makes me a little nervous. On what the future is going to look like, what's the new norm going to look like? Because I don't know what people spend on their teams, but we're $150,000+ a year. That isn't even that's downsized to what we'd really like to do. Mm-hmm. Where does that money come from when that goes away? So, what's the new norm look like? And that's making me a little nervous.
And how long is it going to take to feel comfortable with the stability of the new norm once it gets here,
right,
to be able to react to that? And I don't really want to go to the market side of that, but that's one of those things that you said, if you knew this is the way it's going to be for the next 20 years, let's find the solutions to keep our programs up and running. But you don't know if things are going to change again in another year. We don't know what the change is right now. Mm-hmm. But you also don't know what the change is going to be, 3+ years from now.
Yeah. If that assistance isn't there, what does that look like? And then, in some of those programs, obviously you're going to want a hazmat team and a technical rescue team of some sort, at least in our area, or we do a combination between the 3 metros or something. But that's money out of the budget.
Yeah.
And, so then that starts with, what does that take money out of the budget? What does that affect? The effect starts, how many people you hire.
Right.
It affects maybe you buy an engine a year later, maybe you all those things. It just kind of keeps going downhill because your budget isn't just going to, I don't assume my city is just going to say, oh, geez, sorry, the federal grants went away. Here's $200,000. Right. You're going to have to find that somewhere.
And we're not going to be the only department that's feeling the effects of cuts in federal programs. So while we might be looking for ways to prop those programs back up, other departments are going to be doing the same thing. So,
right. And what hurts when you cut budgets? Outstate travel, that's mm-hmm. a big one. Pay raises are big ones.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. So pretty soon, we're not going to national conferences because we got to toe the line, and I don't like to say that, mm-hmm. but it's might be the new norm. And then 3 years from now, the new norm goes back to the old norm. I don't know, and that's what gets a little frustrating.
maybe after a third term, and they go back to the normal.
Pause for a second.
Okay. But yeah, that's the thing. The long-term forecasting is really difficult. And,
Right.
you don't realize how accustomed you become to having a fairly stable system that changes would take a long time to come. Because if you ask somebody, will safer grants be here forever? Well, we don't know that safer grants will be here forever, but we feel pretty comfortable that they'll be here for the next 3 or 4 years, that it would take, a couple runs of trying to say, maybe we should be discontinuing this program from senators and representatives, that before that kind of thing might actually happen. Because
Sure.
it usually takes more than one run at it to make a big change like that. And that's not necessarily the case in politics today. It's not necessarily the case in social media and legal precedent. There's just the pace at which things can change, and the rules that everybody understood that govern processes of change and governance and funding and stuff all seem to be up in the air.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Even, our city gets, state funding, government funding for things. If that goes away or is decreased or lessened, you're going to have some problems. So.
Sure. And if a program did go away, it would expire at the end of its program because it's currently authorized and funded.
Correct.
Or tomorrow.
Or whenever they want.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure adds a challenge there.
Yeah. Well, all right. We talked politics already and accreditation. And
You guys are into the
heavy hitters.
Yeah. So as I was thinking about my own spirituality the other day,
I was talking to the
lose
dolly.
as many listeners as we can in one episode.
Any big things happening out there? I guess I haven't been really.
Well, we're recording the show a week ahead, and this week is actually FDIC week.
Yep.
So by the time this gets released, the FDIC week will be over, and again, one of those big weeks of the year. A lot of folks out there. We've got a couple folks headed there tomorrow morning. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So I've always said, the two things, if you've ever been in the fire service, two things you need to go to: National Fire Academy and FDIC. So you can't get to the Fire Academy right now, so why don't you jump on over to FDIC and learn from the best out there too.
If there is one thing you have to do before your fire service career ends, you have to make it out to FDIC.
Absolutely. No, 100%.
Very true.
Yeah. And I'm joking about it. I'm not joking about it. It's been some of the most interesting training and some of the most technically adept people that are leading the classes that are there, that each time I've gone there, I've brought things back to our department. And when I've been out there, I was the training officer at the time, and I brought back usable things that we employed back locally, again, from those conferences.
100%. And that's got, it's everything. Like it goes all the way back to accreditation, right? So you think you're good until you have someone else look at you, or you get out of your little bubble and see what else is going on in the country. FDIC is a great place to start and keep going to and learning new things. And, all the conferences are out there. They're fantastic. We always go to the hazmat conference in Baltimore, and that's great for the hazmat team. But you're listening to FDIC, you get to hear the top speakers in the country give their talk about what they think is the proper way of doing something, or what the future looks like, or those kind of things. So, or the guys who write the standards, all those things are out there. So,
yeah, national and international speakers on that. So you also get European perspectives on delivering fire services in your community and what that could mean for us down the road.
All right.
Very interesting.
Get some models of stuff. Yeah, 100%.
And stickers.
All the free swag.
I was thinking about the vendor display and all of the different booths full of stuff for yourself and for your department. If you've got a square inch open on your helmet, there's a sticker there for you. And again, it sounds like I'm making fun. I'm not. No. It's amazing. It honestly is amazing.
There's everything you want is there. You look at all the gear, look at all the equipment, listen to all the speakers. I bought a calendar one time there. I don't know how I got talked into that. If you've ever been out there, you know what I'm talking about.
And if you've ever tried to pry a little bit of money out of Chris Rasmussen, that was a big thing.
Right. It didn't appear to be very big. It's pretty easy.
Yep. You had to open up the wallet.
Yeah. They found the weakness. Fire truck pictures. No,
I was thinking about asking you what type of calendar you bought. While you were out
fire
there.
trucks. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, like a big fire truck guy.
Starts with an F and ends with a UCK. Fire truck.
No, no, it's good to see, and it's impressive. You walk in and you see all the big trucks, up in the air, and and all the vendors and all the things. So please get out there if you can, or welcome back if we're already late.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back from FDIC.
But that's the other thing is you'll be hearing this after FDIC's over, but you need to start planning sooner rather than later. If you wait too long, the hotels are booked. And, the hot classes fill up. So you need to get on that and plan ahead. And since we were talking about budget cycles, I know that's one of the things for our department is if you want to send people to this and you need to budget for that, that usually has to happen about this time of year at the latest for the following year.
Oh, 100%.
So you need to let your chiefs know that this is something you'd like to do and get them budgeting for it if they don't right now.
Yeah, get the bug in the air for 2026. Firemen aren't very good at planning ahead.
No. Well, and I know as a firefighter, I never understood the budget cycle and timing of it. And now you look at it and go, wow, you really have to be ahead of the game planning for this stuff.
Yeah, we started pretty early, and obviously you guys and Jeff's involved heavily too, but the chief comes and asks you, what do you want for 2026? And it's February, and you're like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. You know, and that's how you start, and it's.
Yeah. You get to April or May or June of this year, depending on which city you're in. And they're not asking the questions about what do you need for 2026. We're starting to talk about what do you need for 2027.
Yeah.
The budget's far enough down the road that there aren't going to be a lot of major swings or changes in that now. So to think 2 years ahead of time, what do we want to do for training? What do we want to send people to? Yeah. And how do we justify that with the city leaders?
Right.
So I don't know how often the finance department sends people out of town for training, or public works or other places, but the one unique thing about our job is that we have to be prepared for all these different events that might happen that we don't have day-to-day experience on. And you have to be able to go to the outside. You have to be able to bring experts in to be prepared for everything that we might face. And sometimes that concept of why we train in-house and why we also need to be sending some people out of the department in the city to stay up on what's going on is not a lost message, but it's difficult because the way that we do work is a lot different than a lot of other city departments. And what people don't understand too is as different people cycle in and out of the city and the leadership positions and elected official positions, you're constantly reselling what you do and why and what you need for support to be successful at your mission. Right. So,
it's hard to budget. And I would tell you that in my view, the biggest expense is sending people out of town. I mean, we send people to TEEX, for hazmat and technical rescue classes, and it's, it's a week down there. It's hotels, it's per diem, it's registration fees, flights, and then it's back pay for overtime back here to backfill. So you send $7,000 to $10,000, to have someone go.
Yeah.
So do you have to budget that? Yeah, I think you have to budget that. So get that in your budget. FDIC is relatively inexpensive, so once you get out there, it's not too bad.
It's centrally located too, so it's not long travel times. You can load some people in a van and head out there. More economic.
I feel like we're doing the sale for it, but
I know.
We kind of missed the boat. But again, even at the time you're listening to this, it'll be a year away again. Yeah. But that's the time you actually need to start this process.
Yeah. No, I've been out there several times, and you come back rejuvenated. You get around obviously like-minded people, which can be good and bad, but they kind of give you new ideas and new thoughts that you can bring back to your department. So get your money in for 2027, 26
plans.
26. Get in there and start doing that. We'll see how it all works out here. But it's a great conference. 20-some thousand. It's more than that even.
I think it's over that. Yeah.
20, 30,000. It's a blast. And you meet a lot of people. You meet some lifelong friends. Get some good connections. Hey, what are you guys doing in Albuquerque? Stuff like that. So kind of interesting.
Next issue comes up in your home department.
Yeah.
12 months down the road and you've got somebody to talk to about it.
Yeah.
How do you guys handle this? Right. Never thought I'd be asking about this, but guess what happened last week?
which is good because I still get phone calls from, attending conferences or the fire academy from people you met. So, which is great.
Craig, what's been occupying your time in the last month or so?
I think we just talked about it. Been doing a lot of accreditation.
Yeah, dang. I don't think we're going to circle back to that.
No, I don't think anybody wants to. I think we probably stretched as far as we could without
saying the name.
Don't get me wrong. I could talk for hours
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I think it's important, but listeners probably don't want to hear too much about it.
Yeah. I mean, we're finishing up an academy coming up here in a month or so, and then
Hiring new firefighters.
start another academy in 3 months from now, and just busy times.
Yeah, we're posting our openings so that we can have people selected to get into that academy 3 months from now. So when you're talking about planning ahead of time, well, when are you going to hire that person? Well, how long it takes so long before they start on shift? There's good reasons for all these things to happen, but we can't be thinking about what's happening now. You got to be forecasting down the road to have all your ducks in a row.
Yeah, it's not. You guys have a little more higher administration position than I do, but it's you have a plan on planning. I got a plan for planning, and then that day gets wrecked.
Oh yeah,
real quick. So a situation occurs or an incident occurs, that you're out. I guess I'll plan on planning tomorrow. I have a plan though, so that's good.
Yeah, my daily plans are I'm flexible, so they can revolve to the next day when they didn't happen today like I thought. What percentage of what I thought I was going to be working on did I actually get to work on today? Yeah. What percentage of the things I didn't work on today am I going to be working on tonight before I turn in because I didn't get to them today, but they're on a deadline? Yeah.
That's how you get 2 months away from have to be accredited or get your stuff in, and you still haven't worked on it yet.
Yeah, I got a lot closer deadlines that I need to be working on now. We'll figure all that other stuff out later. How are we measuring our performance in that? Yeah, 2 weeks tops to figure that out across the board in each of the categories. That can't take too long.
One of these shows, we'll talk about how to manage deadlines.
Yeah, someday we'll put it on the agenda. I don't know.
Sometime, yeah. We'll plan that, how to handle deadlines. Well, good.
Yeah.
All right.
We don't really have a big topic right now. I think, say, with FDIC going on this week, we're just kind of excited. And
we'll title this episode Potpourri.
Potpourri.
Yeah,
Potpourri.
We haven't had
with the proper pronunciation.
Isn't that just room sense?
Yeah, we haven't had one of those episodes in a while. But we've had a couple that's exactly what we named them by the time we were done.
Yeah.
We should have like a stack of cards. You can draw the topic. Boom,
right.
There you go.
Pick a card, any card.
Go to jail for free. So that covers kind of accreditation talk and FDIC chatter.
Yeah, hopefully everybody had a good week there and bring back a lot of good stuff to your departments.
Yep. There's calendars there too. Make sure you stop buying the calendar.
Stickers.
Apparently stickers.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Well, in the meantime, stay safe, focus on your mission, and we'll catch you next month.
Be safe. Good night.
Welcome back from FDIC.
Welcome to Tailboard Talk with
Chris Rasmussen,
Craig Nelson, and Jeff Wallin. Every month we explore different topics of interest to you, our cohorts in fire and emergency services. So whether you sit back and listen, sound off on the message board, or call in live to be part of the conversation, we welcome you to join us in our mission to improve the fire service for those we serve and those we serve beside. Now coming to you live from the Great White North, this is Tailboard Talk on Fire Engineering Talk Radio.